Welcome, Dr. McKenzie. You have 5 minutes with a possible extension of 3. If you could give us your name for the record and the agenda item you're speaking to when you're ready.
Thank you, and thank you for the welcome, Mayor and councillors. My name is Dr. Sue McKenzie, President of Perfex Incorporated, speaking on behalf of Perfex and the signatories of a petition that's being tabled today. I'm speaking to item number PET19/001. First of all, I want to thank Councillor Anthony Main for presenting this petition. It is a great opportunity for the community to be able to submit things to council and to have these kind of meetings where we can present our point of view. This petition to retain and maintain the Batemans Bay Community Centre for ongoing general community use includes 983 signatures plus a few more, making 1,001. Many more people have been appalled to hear of the community centre being under jeopardy, and I continue to receive more petition sheets and inquiries. This petition represents just under 9% of the local area population, or 6.2% of the wider Bay population, probably a little more than that if you talk about residents rather than ratepayers. Does the community want to lose the present community centre in exchange for a pool and a theatre centre? This petition suggests not. OTM suggested the option of the disposal of the community centre and the tourist centre. Council accepted this proposal. Does the community agree to this trade? This petition suggests not. For instance, we ask, why are you going from a small family sedan to an SUV people mover so you can go camping twice a year and then stop the kids playing local sport because you cannot afford the petrol to drive them there? This is how we see the trade. There seems to be some very short-term thinking going on here. What if the population, mostly above 60 and being active retirees engaged in the community, increases at the 18% rate predicted and the community centre is gone? What then? What legacy is being left to the next council and the ones after that? The community centre reaches the wider nebulous demographic of the community. The pool and arts centre focuses on a sizable but a very specific demographic. You have said we will not raise rates to pay for this centre. We made a commitment to that and we won't sacrifice any of the elements because of this facility needs to cater for everyone in the community. This is Council Newsletter, January 2019. Yet that is precisely what you are doing. We've already provided you with many practical reasons to keep and maintain the centre, including spreading traffic flow, public toilet accessibility away from the foreshore, affordability to use it, access, etc. But as yet I've heard nothing from Council other than to argue against keeping the centre, using the endless argument that will increase cost to run the 4 establishments. But how can you talk about costs when you have an outdated business plan based on concept plans that do not exist anymore, no final plan, and projections and inclusions of costs that would exclude most of the community? Council's role is to provide for a viable, ongoing, inclusive community. Now is the time to rethink the whole complex and the wider community impact before anything is finally set in stone. And it is time to be more transparent with the community and the whole effects of the development now and into the future. This may require altering the aspirations of the Mackay Park facility, and we understand that. Like the bowling club, ostensibly bought for the community in 2016 and quickly made saleable to all and sundry by shifting it to operational status, will we weep over an empty plot of land sold off for cheap short-term gains, or hold on to this quiet, vital piece of community property built, it should be remembered, from community funds, not council ones? It is well worth remembering the infamous quotation and its ramifications on hearing that the peasants had no bread. It said, "Let them eat cake." Mackay Park Arts Centre was supposed to be designed to become a thriving arts centre. Now it has changed. We don't know yet what it is going to be. The assurances of, enough meeting spaces and this are still not set in concrete. We still do not have dimensions. We still do not have plans. So all those assurances are things that we cannot actually rely on. We therefore draw the attention of the Council and the councillors, the representatives of the community, that the community did desire to retain the Batemans Bay Community Centre, along with the proposed Mackay Park Aquatic Centre and Theatre Arts Complex, and strongly assert our community voice to our representatives to comply with this request. We're also aware that the land being operational also has...
I apologise for interrupting. Your 5 minutes is up.
That's fine.
I have a mover and a seconder for a 3-minute extension, moved by Councillor McGinley, seconded by Councillor Constable. Councillors, all those in favour? You have a further 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. On further exploration, we discovered that not only is the land operational, but it has a height allowance of something like 15 metres, which implies that there is a possibility of selling that land and having a high-rise development of some sort put on it. That is of grave concern, because as a community space, we've got Dan Murphy's coming in there. It becomes a loitering area rather than a lingering area. And there's a big difference between those two words. It's an area that's very dominated by service centres. It's not an area that's a commercial area where people come and go and keep the vitality happening. It certainly needs a lot more promotion, if you like. We have a fabulous museum there. We have a wonderful community centre. It's a very quiet, out of the way. It also badly needs Wi-Fi and technology update. And with those simple things, you would find that it would become, a really strong hub there. And my idea of having a local precinct, I think, could be a very vital opportunity that we could develop there. So I guess I'm asking, are there any questions?
Councillors, have you any questions for Dr Mackenzie? Councillor Mayne.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thanks, Dr Mackenzie, for your presentation. You made a comment earlier, and I may have misquoted you here, about the either council or the process needing to be more transparent. Unpack that a little bit, because I've seen a lot of communications with the Sunset Committee through a newsletter, through the kiosks, etc. So council has done quite a bit. You're suggesting there's more that could have been done? Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to answer that question to the Mayor. When there are any negotiations for anything, and we have this played out constantly in the media, particularly in the American context, and with the China and America, for instance, at the moment, the trust is a fundamental issue between the players. And trust develops from having a transparency. Now, there's a balance between transparency and working out a business deal. But here we're talking about a community working with their council working with their community to get the best deal for the community, which is supposedly our common goal. So the transparency that's needed here is not that conditional transparency of a business deal, but the transparency of two people trying to find the same thing. And what we feel that we're missing is the putting on the table the broader implications of things. So, for instance, we've had this wonderful consultation process recently about the 3 concept plans. But it was very, very narrow. It was just about the 3 concept plans. It didn't talk about the full implications on the community, not just on the plans and what is involved, of all the things that go with it, such as losing the tourist centre and losing the community centre. It was only on those 3 plans. So that's the sort of thing that we feel is missing, that the awareness of all components and their implications on the whole community are not being given the same profile as the, fancy stuff of, we've got this beautiful thing that we're going to have and it's going to be vibrant in the community. Fabulous, but, vibrant in the community at what cost?
Thank you. Councillor Nathan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, Dr. Mackenzie, we have chatted on occasion about this. You're mentioning transparency, but there's also a matter of language, and I'm a little bit concerned that somewhere the language has changed, like the words of under jeopardy, which implies an immediate, oh my gosh. The second is that we're going to close down community activity rather than community activity being relocated. So I'm a little bit concerned about language. Do you share that concern?
I think that the use of the language is deliberate, because it is important that people understand that any processes of council are very slow, that you are at a critical point now because you're coming up to looking at what your final plan is. You probably are updating, or should be updating, your business plan. There's all these sorts of things are happening. We are not being party to those conversations. We're not being given access to the latest version of the business plan, only the OTM one, which is so out of date it's laughable. And so, yes, we are under jeopardy, and jeopardy doesn't imply immediate problem. It understands it's under a threat. And we're not saying you're shutting down community activity. We're saying that the breadth of community activity is being curtailed and is being put in here. For instance, if we go by the OTM plan, which keeps being referred to, the idea is that we're going to pay $700 a day for hiring. You're not going to find many community groups that will do that. And there's also listed in there that it's going to be a minimum of 2 to 2.5 hours, which means people are going to have to pay $100 to have a normal meeting, which again is not going to be within the range of a community group. It's things like that that we are concerned about. But there's also even simple, yes, so that is why we're moving. We're sort of saying, people be aware there are lots of ramifications of this and you need to think about it. And need to think about how community life is going to change. And that includes movement of the community around its geographical space. The traffic, sitting in traffic for an hour to get to a theatre thing is not going to be fun, or sitting in the daytime, or like these, sit for an hour going to a dance rehearsal or a pool is not going to be much fun in the tourist time.
Thank you, Dr.
spread
Mackenzie.
things.
I think you've answered the question. Councillors, are there any questions for Dr. Mackenzie? Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much.